Hi, welcome to Word Time with Miss Markee. I'm Miss Markee, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's see what our letter sound of the day is. Today's letter is Z. There's a little B by the Z because Z makes a buzzing sound when we make it. Can you try to make that zzz buzzing sound? Zzz. If you remember, one of the first episodes I did was on letter S. So the Z is made like an S, we just turn on our voice to make it buzz. But our mouth and tongue are doing the same thing as S. You can even try to do the S sound and then turn your voice on and turn it into a Z, like this. Zzz. It sounds like a little bee buzzing around. Sometimes I also call this sound the zipper sound, like you're zipping up a coat to go outside. The book that I brought us today is called Z is for Zebra. It's a small little book, but it has lots of Z words in it. So, the illustrations in this book are by Livy Gosling. Z is for zebra. Z is for zebra. There are 3 types of zebras. They all live in Africa. There's a plain zebra, a grevy zebra, and a mountain zebra. Z is for zippy because zebras have lots of energy. They gallop really fast. And Z is for a zeal of zebras. A group of zebras can be called a zeal, a horde, or a dazzle. There's a group of zebras having a drink. And Z is for our own zebra-striped zoo. Finally, count each Z in pizzazz. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Z's in the word pizzazz. Snazzy, striped, zany, zippy, dazzling zebras are full of pizzazz. The end. In our zebra book, we learned that zebras only live in Africa. So if you want to see a zebra, you'll either have to watch a show about zebras that is filmed in Africa or go to a zoo. So I have this book, which is a Richard Scarry best word book ever. And it's kind of an older book. So in his book, this is the page about the zoo. You can see all the animals are in tiny cages and don't have a lot of room to move around or play. I do see a zebra up here, but it doesn't look like the animals have lots of plants or things to do that are like their natural homes, like Africa.
Hi, my name is Angela Yang. I am currently the Director of International Field Conservation at the Denver Zoo. Um, I've had a long history both in zoos and in international field conservation, so I'm grateful for this opportunity to talk to all of you. So historically, you probably all know that zoos started as collections, and way back when they were collections of uh, exotic animals that people would have in their backyards, and these grew, and they were kind of like collecting stamps in some ways. But we've evolved a lot since then, and so zoos now, most of our animals do come from other zoos. And so there, the zoo associations, both in the US, Europe, and globally, have very structured records of each individual animal, the genetics, and which animals should breed with which other animal. So that's all very tightly managed and scientifically managed. It's probably very rare and highly unlikely, unless it's a rescue situation or exemptions, that animals go out and get animals from the wild. Historically, again, we started as collections. So people would collect giraffes, for example, and animals would be in very small cages, awfully really beautiful cages. When you think about some of the Victorian structures, I used to work at the London Zoo in their conservation department, and there's some pretty amazing architecture that goes into those old cages. But for the animals, we weren't really thinking about what the animals needed. And so that has evolved as well. More often than not, when the new structures come up, there's a lot of consideration as to space that animal needs and words like enrichment. So a lot of this is built into the new habitats, new naturalistic ones that do have uh, real plants and real rocks and structures in those. And I would say that most zoos that I've seen with the new exhibits don't have the bars anymore. So you're looking at a lot more space and also vertical space as well, and less confining. And zoos have done a great job, and probably the last few decades, and in those considerations about animal welfare and behavior. So they've factored in a lot of um, uh, those needs into building exhibits and how we take care of animals. So I was a zookeeper back when I was, I think, in my early 20s. And conservation in zoos is back then wasn't the norm. So some zoos would, give out money and support conservation, but actually getting involved in looking at what conservation needs and what the conservation world is doing is not as embedded in what we do. So something that we do at the Denver Zoo is think about how we work with people. And it's not necessarily the traditional way of thinking about conservation. A lot of zoos go forward and, you know, send money to groups, which is certainly valid. But what we do now at Denver Zoo is make sure that we actually have a conversation with the groups that we're supporting to figure out where the needs are and to be able to maximize kind of our investment in conservation through these relationships and engaging with communities and community-led organizations. So I'm hoping that that's going to be the way forward for all of us because it brings us into closer alignment with what's going on in the greater conservation world. And I think conservation is one of those huge topics, conservation, climate change, and all of these environmental challenges. And I think that all needs to be addressed together, and we're far stronger together.
So today we're going to make a place for animals. You could either use some animal toys or some pictures of animals and make a natural habitat zoo for them. Okay, so we have our supplies here. We have a box to put everything in. We have some tape. You might use some glue if you're doing this too. Some scissors. So we have some green paper that we cut up like grass. I'm gonna take some things out here. We have lots of little water for the animals, some grass, some branches for animals like the monkeys can swing on those branches. Okay. And we have a few animals that we cut out as well, some animals that you might see if you went to a zoo. So you might see, especially if it has like a petting zoo, you might see some animals like sheep and goats. You might see some animals splashing in the water like this bird is. You might see that at the zoo. And the cool thing about zoos is you can see animals that you don't normally see. Like this bird, I don't even know what kind of bird this is, but that's something you could learn at the zoo. You could see new kinds of animals that you've never seen before. All right, so I'm going to tape some of these pictures into our box to start making our zoo. Put this up here. This one has some sky and lots of room for the animals to run and play. So we can just tape that in there like that. This picture, you can see a person in the background. That might be our zookeeper. It's important to have a zookeeper at the zoo. Can make sure the animals are safe and healthy and give them their food. Here's a zookeeper. What else do we have? Oh, we have some that look like water. I'm gonna cut this one out a little bit more. So you can use your scissors to cut out the pictures that you want to use. You can put some of this grass maybe on even the front of our box. Tape that on there. Another piece for the other side. Nice. I also have some of this cut up paper, which this kind usually comes like this, but you could also make your own cut out paper. And I like this paper because it looks kind of like a zigzag shape. It goes back and forth like a zigzag. And you can make that shape too yourself by taking a piece of paper, folding it one way and then the other, and keep that pattern going. Fold it this way and that way and this way, and then you get a zigzag shape. It even kind of looks like a letter Z. So, and then it can stand up by itself. So we can put some tall standing grass in there. Put some more grass for our animals. Ooh, some nice water and rocks for the animals to play in. You can put this in and pretend that it's grass or maybe some food for them to eat. Lots of animals eat dried grasses or hay. Put that in for the animals. If you have your little animal pictures, you can put them on a popsicle stick or a pencil like this. You could put some tape on it, and then it can stand up, and you can make it walk around your zoo and stand up over here. Oops, and fall down. Okay. Ooh, some flowers. Some animals like to eat those grasses and flowers, or just lay in them, run through them, splash in the water, play in the grass. This is looking like such a nice home for our zoo animals. So if you have some animals like this, some toy animals, you could put them in. You can make the elephant, like here's some of our water. You can make the elephant stop in the water or pretend that its trunk is slurping up that water. If you had a zebra, like we saw in our book, you can make the zebra zip through the grass and run really fast. Ooh, here's another animal that likes to be in the water, the sea lion. The sea lion can enjoy some water. And the lion likes to be in the grass in the sun. So we can find a nice sunny grass picture for this lion. Ooh, the bears could go over here in the water. Maybe they're going to try to catch some fish. The the koala bear likes to climb in tree branches. We have some tree branches for the koala bear. Here comes the gorilla, stomping in the grass. And here comes another animal. Ooh, maybe this one wants to play down here in the dirt and the wood logs. And a bird can fly or sit high up in the branches. We'll tape this bird here. So you can see at home, can you make your own zoo for your animals? Another word that starts with Z is zero. So if we have nothing of something, we have zero. We have 1 0, 2 0, 3 zeros, 4 zeros, 5 zeros, 6 zeros, 7 zeros here. And that means there's nothing. But then if we count something, like if we count all the animals on the zoo page, then we will not have zero. Let's see what we have. So if we count 1 bear, change it to 1. 1 bear. And there's an elephant. 2 animals. A bear, an elephant. There's a deer. That's 3 animals. Monkeys. 4 animals. There's a gorilla. That's 5 animals. A tiger. 6 animals. And a lion. 7 animals. Over here's a leopard. 8 animals. A buffalo. 9 animals. Oh, and that's our last number here. Because if we go to 10, this goes back to a 0. If we count the sea lion, that's 10 animals. So now this one needs to be a 1. This is a 0, so we have 10. 10 animals. I see a camel. That's 11. 11 animals. And a giraffe. 12 animals. A zebra. 13 animals. A rhinoceros. That's 14 animals. A hippopotamus. It's 15 animals. Wow, and did we miss any? I see the zookeeper. Should we count the zookeeper? That's 16 things we counted at the zoo. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And our friend Phoneme the feline has joined us too. Hi Phoneme. Hi. Today we talked about zoos and animals at zoos like zebras and the number 0. So can you guess what our sound was when we talked about all those things? No, you don't know? Let's tell Phoneme. What was our sound today? Yeah, it was the letter Z. Yeah. And we talked about animals that live at zoos, but cats don't live at zoos. Not little cats like you. No. Some bigger cats like lions and tigers and leopards, they can live at zoos, but not little cats like you. No. Have you ever visited a zoo? No? Oh, that's okay. Some zoos have online that you can watch live streams and you can meet some of their animals. Maybe we can check that out. And we can also check out the Talking is Teaching Facebook page for more activities and ideas to do with you, Phoneme, and all our little friends out there. So thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time.